Yarny.
Hey there, welcome back to Yarny. In this tutorial, you will learn how to do the star stitch. I've completed a little patch here to show you what the star stitch looks like. It's really a neat stitch. It's very, very beautiful and feminine. The only downside to this stitch is that you cannot use both sides. So if I reverse my patch, as you can see, it doesn't look like the star stitch. So this is only a one-sided stitch, but still very beautiful, easily completed. All right, let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is a slip knot and chains. So if you're unclear how to do a slip knot and chain, I will link down below a Yarny tutorial. It's very slow and detailed. Now, once you've done with your slip knot, we will start with the chains. So you can do however many chains you want. Just make sure that it's an even number, and make sure that the length of the chains that you will do is basically the length of your project. So for me, for this tutorial, I won't do too many chains, just so that the tutorial is not too long. I would chain 14 just to demonstrate how to do the star stitch. So again, at home, just chain however many stitch you need to do your project, but just make sure that it's an even number. Okay, so I have completed my 14 chains. So now in order to do the star stitch, what we're going to do is start from the second chain from the hook. Now remember that the loop on the hook here never counts as a chain. So your first chain from the hook is this one here. And then your second chain from the hook is this one here. So in this second chain from the hook, you will insert your hook. And then you will grab the yarn with your hook to pull it back through the chain. And you have 2 loops on your hook. Now we're moving on to the next chain. And you will do the same thing, inserting your hook. And then draw a loop to pull it back. Now we're doing the same thing on the next chain to pull back a loop here. So now you see you have 4 loops on your hook. We're going to do this 2 more times. So in the next chain again, insert your hook to pull the yarn back. And then again in the following stitch, the following chain, insert your hook and pull the yarn back. So now you see you have 6 loops on your hook. The star stitch is basically always worked with 6 loops on the hook. Now the next step is that you will wrap the yarn around your hook and you will pull the yarn through all these 6 loops. Make sure your hook faces down, which is easier to go through all the loops. Now this step here requires a little patience, especially if you have a yarn that like acrylic yarn that splits. Here I'm using like a sort of t-shirt yarn, so it can't really split, which is fantastic for these types of stitches. So now that you've pulled the yarn through all the 6 loops, what you're going to do next is chain 1. So wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through the loop on your hook. Now, if you can see, you have all these little bars here that are created by the loops on your hook. And once we did the chain, it created a little space here. This is called the eye of the star stitch. Now the next step is that we will insert our hook in the eye of the star here. Then you will wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it back through the eye. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. Now remember these bars here at the bottom here. What you want to do is just make sure that you insert your hook on the most left bar. So this one you might need your fingers to help guide your hook. So on the most left bar here, under that, you will insert your hook. So like I mentioned, I definitely need my fingers to guide my hook here. This also happens if your stitch is a little too tight. All right, once it's through that bar, wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it back through the bar, and then you have 3 loops on your hook. Now, at the bottom here, this bigger space, this is the last chain where we did the 6th loop. So in the same stitch here, you will insert your hook, draw a loop like this, so you have 4 loops on your hook. Now we're moving on to the next 2 chains that we have not worked in yet. So in the next chain, you insert your hook, pull the yarn, you have 5 loops on your hook, insert your hook in the following chain, and you have 6 loops on your hook. So wrap the yarn around your hook to pull it through all 6 loops. So this is basically your second star stitch. And we're just repeating the steps where we're chaining 1 to create that eye of the star. Insert your hook in the eye, pull the yarn through, and then you're inserting your hook under the most left side bar here, basically from the legs of your star. Pull the yarn through. Then at this very base, this chain here, wrap the yarn through, and you have 4 loops on your hook. Now to create the 6th loop on the hook, the 5th and the 6th loop, we need to move on to the next 2 chains. So in the next chain, you will draw your 5th loop. And then in the following chain, you will draw your 6th loop. So you have 6 loops on the hook. Pull the yarn through all 6 loops. You have a 3rd star stitch. So we will repeat, chain, and then you will create your eye, insert your hook in the eye to draw a loop. Then insert your hook in the most left bar of your star. Oops, it went back in the eye. So just this one here, using my finger to pull the yarn, the hook through. And then at the very base, so this last chain here, the chain where you drew the 6th loop here, insert your hook, pull the yarn through. You have 4 loops. Now you work in the next 2 chains you have not worked on yet. So the next chain, you will draw your 5th loop. And then in the following chain, you will draw your 6th loop like this. So you have 6 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through all 6 loops. Now we're going to work on our last star stitch of the row. So as you can see, you have 2 chains left. So again, chain to close the stitch and create that eye. Insert your hook in the eye, pull the yarn through, insert your hook in that most left side bar, using your finger if you have a hard time. I'll use my yarn needle to stretch that bar and pull the yarn through. Insert your hook at the very base of the stitch here, the bigger gap. And then now you insert your hook in the next chain you have not worked in yet. Pull a loop, and then insert your hook in the last chain here to create your 6th loop. So then you wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through all 6 loops. So this is your last star of the row. You will wrap the yarn around your hook to chain to create that eye of the stitch. Now to end the row, what you would do is a half double crochet in the same last chain here. So wrap the yarn around your hook, insert your hook in this last chain, and then pull the yarn through. And then you have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap the yarn to pull it through all 3 loops. Now we will chain 1 and we will work on our second row. So we will turn our project around, and what we're going to do is 1 single crochet at the very base. So remember, we chained 1 here at the very base of this first stitch here. You will insert a single crochet under the full stitch, and then you will wrap the yarn around your hook, pull it through the both loops to have your first single crochet. And then what we're doing this row is very easy. We're inserting single crochet in the eye of the star stitch. So if you're having a hard time seeing where the eye of the star stitch is, just flip here and you see the next eye is here. So the first eye of the star stitch, we will insert 1 single crochet. And then now in all of the next eye, we will insert 2 single crochet in each eye. So it's only the first eye here that we insert 1 single crochet, but all of the next eyes here, we will insert 2 single crochet in each eye. So in the next eye, I will insert 2 single crochet. So I'm doing my first, and then my second. Then I'm moving on to my next eye, which is this one here. So 2 single crochet in this eye. And then moving on to the next eye, which is this one here. So 2 single crochet. And moving on to the next eye. Basically the last eye of the row here. 2 single crochet. What these single crochet do is basically close up your star stitch. Now we will insert 1 single crochet in the last one last stitch here to make sure that our project is even. So on the top chain here, so the last stitch here, you insert another single crochet. Just make sure you insert your hook in the full stitch, so the full chain here, to do a single crochet. Now the star stitch is a stitch that works in a repeat of 2 rows. So this single crochet row is a row that we will be repeating, but I'll show you the next row that you will be repeating. So what you're doing now is you will chain 3. So chain 1, 2, 3, and then you will turn your project around. So this row is where we create the star stitch again. So in the second chain from the hook, you will insert your hook in the chain in order to draw a loop like this. And now you insert your hook in the next chain and then you will pull a loop. So you have 3 loops on your hook. Remember that the star stitch is always 6 loops on the hook. So now at the very base, the first stitch here, insert your hook, then pull a loop, you have 4. Now insert your hook in the next stitch, pull a loop, and then insert in the next stitch, pull a loop. So you have your 6 loops, just pull the yarn through all 6 loops. So this is your first star stitch of the row. So you would chain to create the eye, and now you just repeat what we did on the very bottom row here. Insert your hook in the eye, pull a loop, insert your hook in the very left side bar here, then pull a loop, and then at the very base of this stitch here, insert your hook, pull a loop. Now you will work in the next 2 stitches that you have not touched yet. So in the next stitch, insert your hook, you will pull a loop, and then insert your hook in the next stitch, pull a loop. You have 6 loops on your hook, pull the yarn through all 6 loops. Again, chain to create the eye, insert your hook in the eye, pull a loop, insert your hook in the most left bar, pull a loop at the very base here, pull a loop, and work on the next 2 stitches you haven't worked on to pull 6 loops in total. Then chain, repeat. So this is a row that you should remember because you will do this as many times as you need to reach the height of your project. And remember that the start of this row, you chained 3, you turned your project in order to draw your 6 loops on the hook. So I'm arriving at my very last star stitch here of the row. And then you will work the last 2 stitches to pull the loops. Now to end the row, always remember when you do the rows to create the stars, you always end with a half double crochet in the last stitch. This will make sure your project stays straight. And then your next row is basically the single crochet row in the eye. So then what you do is you chain 1, you turn your project around, you will insert a first single crochet at the very base of this stitch here. And then you insert 1 single crochet in the first eye of the previous row here. And then in every next eye, you insert 2 single crochet. So it's only in the first eye that you insert 1 single crochet. So I'm inserting 2 in this eye here. And remember, if you don't know where the eye is, just turn the project and you will see where the eyes are. Eventually, when you do this stitch many times, you will get used to it and you won't need to look the other side anymore. So I'm almost arriving at the end of my row here. So with my last eye here, I will insert 2 single crochet. And remember, to end this row, you'll insert 1 single crochet on the very last stitch, which will be the top chain. So remember that we did 3 chains before we did our prior row. So insert your single crochet on the top chain here. And now you basically just repeat the 2 rows that I showed you. So the 1 row where you create the 6 loop to do the stars, and then the other row to close the star stitch with single crochets. So you basically chain 3, turn your project, and you just keep going, creating your loops. This is where you do your star stitch. And then after you're done with this row, you would chain 1 and start closing your star with the single crochet in the eye. Now I'll keep going to finish this, but I'll let you go to practice this stitch. Remember that this is a 2-row repeat. Just if you forgot a portion, feel free to rewind the video. But at the end of the day, you should get a nice patch of a star stitch looking like this. Of course, your project will be bigger than this one, but it's a very beautiful stitch. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you soon. Oh, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, of course. And I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.